employer has you. And that's where you spend most of your time. That's where you spend, most of your waking hours, 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
So let's check this out. You can hear it from this guy here, Shahid Bolson, I believe his name is. Let's just hear what he has to say about women working in the workplace and the desires therein. I 100% agree with him. I'm going to break this down with you guys as we go through with it and really point out some other things to really shed light on the damage that the whole cycle is doing. Let's get into this.
You're telling me what you've been told and what you've been told to believe, not what you actually believe and not what's actually the case. No, I don't believe for a second that most women want to work and most women want to have a career. That's PR. That's propaganda. I mean, you can't say honestly that you think that most women want to work and also say that women have equal intelligence as men, because if they have equal intelligence as men, what intelligent person would choose to work if they had a choice not to?
Correct. 100%. First things first right there, because I know, well, like I said at the beginning, there's like this big separation between men and women in the world. And I feel like that's the work of the enemy. I'm going to put it out here now so you guys know exactly which direction I'm heading in this video. I feel like that's the work of the devil. And the problem with that is in that disconnect that we have, you hear a lot of women completely just out there saying how they're more intelligent than men, they're stronger than men, the world doesn't need men.
This is just a reminder for men that scientists have now discovered a way for women to impregnate themselves using their own bone marrow, and the only child that can result from those pregnancies are female. So we no longer have any need for you genetically or physically. So, tread lightly.
But as he's going to put so clearly right here in just a few seconds, if they were as intelligent as we are, if there was equal intelligence, if not, if they were even more intelligent than we are, why would they make this choice? Because I think that the world wants to put us in this race where they're thinking that as men, we choose this. As men, this is a route that we choose to take, and this is something we enjoy doing every single day, and that's something that defines us. But it really isn't. We don't find our definition and our purpose in that. And I feel like the enemy is just trying to use women to distract by making you guys believe one thing when that's completely not the case. Let's keep this going.
I know a man wouldn't if given the choice. No, I know that most women don't want to work. I don't need to see the statistics. I know that most women don't want to work because I work. So I know what it's like. No, you can only convince a woman or anyone else that it's wonderful. It's just so fulfilling to dress up in business clothes and go to an office all day if they've never worked. You can maybe sell that message to young, inexperienced people.
And that's what I always talk about in every single one of my videos almost, how when it comes to the work of the enemy, when it comes to the destruction of the world, the people that they attack are the young people. That's where they start. They start with the young people, because if I can get that new generation onto this new ideology of living, of life, then I've transformed everything. Then they've gotten the control that they're wanting. And that's where the destruction comes. So yes, like you said, you can sell this dream. And I'm not speaking against anybody who does have, a 9-to-5, or anyone, any woman particularly who might be working. I just want to shed light on how the devil uses just any situation, and he'll use anything possible to cause division, And that's what he's doing here. Let's keep this going.
But anyone who has been in the workforce for any length of time will tell you it is not exactly living the dream. But you know who is living the dream? You know who really is living the dream? Married women in Dubai, married women in Saudi Arabia. And not just because they get to go on shopping sprees with their husbands', gold credit cards, but because due to the fact that they have so much support from their family, so much support from their husbands, so much support from their fathers, so much support from what you would call patriarchy, you probably didn't know that women in the...
Before we keep going on that, now, before people start saying that the reason that they have it that way is because, that's a dominating relationship and they're probably with narcissistic men and they're with controlling men and overpowering men, absolutely not. One thing that I realized after watching this video and really seeing this is something that I never really realized, and that was the fact that when you think about what took place once we did the whole, yeah, women come into the workplace and everyone's working and it's equality for all, and women no longer wanted to stay at home because for whatever reason, society started to make it look like it was a bad thing for you to be at home taking care of your home and taking care of your children and taking care of the family. So what happened was then they started to come into the workplace. Now, and you look into in today's time, it takes two people in one household majority of the time to even provide for a household, for a full family. It takes both of those people. And sometimes, even when both of those people are working full time, it still isn't even enough. They're still making ends meet. And I feel like this was a ploy of the enemy. I'm not blaming men, I'm not blaming women. I just feel like this was a token of the enemy. Because what happens is, if you look at the divorce rates, which is a percentage that is at an all-time high and that has always been at an all-time high, why? What is one of the main reasons of divorce rates? It's financial struggle. So, but there used to be a time where only one person had to go to work. There used to be a time where only one person, typically it was the husband, typically it was the father, had to go to work, and it was enough to provide for his family because the wages and the means and all those things were calculated. But here's the problem with this. Now that we had the devil step in and cause that division and cause that, I don't know, anguish or whatever he does to make women, get into this society where they believe that they have to compete with men. Now they've come into the workplace. Now those calculations that used to be where there was only one person providing for the family, those calculations have changed. Those considerations have changed because now there's two people working. So now every company is looking at it like there's two people working. But here's the problem. Like I said, number one, not only when two people, majority of the time right now in the world, when they're contributing to the home, not only are they still making ends meet, but we're also in a society that we caused the women to come into the workplace to compete with men. We caused division between men and women. So now we're not even getting homes with two incomes to help support because we're also in a generation and we're also in a time right now where marriage is something that is frowned upon and not looked and seeked after. The ploy of the enemy. It usually starts small. It usually starts as something innocent, and it usually is something as it gets you riled up and it makes you feel like you're doing something for a big purpose. But it's the ploy of the enemy. Because even now, I can guarantee you, and let me know if you agree in the comment section, if you're bold enough, there's people probably who are working jobs right now who wish. There's probably women right now. There's probably even men, like he said, then some of us don't even want to work. But we do it because it's something we have to do. And for women, for a very long time, it wasn't something that was mandatory. It wasn't something that you had to do. And now it's something that you have to do. And a lot of us find ourselves in positions where we don't want to do it.
Whoever fought for women to get jobs. Why? Why did we do that? I am so tired. I want to just put my feet up.
Let's keep this going. There's a couple more interesting things here.
UAE and women in Saudi Arabia own a higher percentage of small and medium-sized businesses than women in America by at least 10%.
Yeah.
That's ownership. That's entrepreneurship, not employeeship. But of course, they're oppressed, right? Now, most people don't want to work. Now, obviously, there are exceptions. And there are people who can, genuinely derive a lot of satisfaction from their work. But we all know that they could find infinite other ways to achieve that and better than that level of satisfaction if they weren't wage slaves and had control of their time. Should women have the right to work? You understand what incredibly deceptive language that is? In your society, do they have the right not to work? That's a better question. I mean, look at how they manipulate language around this issue. Instead of just saying you have to work, they say that you have a career or you have a job, as if it's something that you gained, as if it's something, something that you have.
But it's taken everything away. And look at everybody now. Look at a lot of people. You can see it all over TikTok. You see it all over the internet. People have practically sold themselves, their lives, everything they possibly can to the jobs that they're working. And these jobs really aren't providing anything for them. Still poor, still struggling, still stressed out, still trying to make ends meet, still unable to do it. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, when it comes to the enemy, where the enemy's involved, there's confusion, there's evil work, things just don't, they don't work out, they don't pan out. Destruction happens, division takes place. It's ridiculous. It's kind of like having Joe Biden in the office. Let's keep this going.
They're talking about all the things that you lose by having that, all of the things that you have to let go in order to keep hold of that job. They say you have a career, but what they mean is your employer has you. And that's where you spend most of your time. That's where you spend, most of your waking hours, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, plus however long it takes you to commute. So maybe up to around half of a 24-hour day, you are either going to work, at work, or coming home from work. And then you get, if you're lucky, maybe 4 to 5 hours a day off, 4 to 5 hours a day left of free time. Look at that phrase, free time. Because, yes, in your free, democratic, liberated, independent country, most citizens only get about 4 to 5 hours a day of freedom. Because the rest of the time, you're at work. And work is extremely not democratic.
And they keep you in this cycle, guys. They will keep you in this cycle so you never question it. You never think to step out. And because all it takes is the faith the size of a mustard seed. And you think about how tiny a mustard seed is. And some of us don't even have that much faith. So because it takes that much faith, and some of us don't have that much faith yet, we're weary and we kind of don't take a chance and a shot on ourselves. So we depend on these jobs. We've dedicated ourselves to these jobs. We stay at these jobs, even though they're not providing much for us. Like you said, you think about it. There's only 24 hours in a day. Between 8 to 10, maybe for some people, 12 hours a day. You're at a job. People say, I'm working 10-hour shifts. I'm working 12-hour shifts. That's half the day. That is half the day. And you got to sleep at least, 6 to 8 hours? Well, there's your other. You only got 4 hours left, like you said, of free time. But then you didn't even calculate for things like showering and driving, commuting, eating. Things that really aren't anything that you can help with your mental health and kind of help self-develop or anything. There's no time for it. And you stay in that loop. 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts. The only thing that makes it feel good is the check at the end. So you're really kind of selling yourself for this check, this dollar amount that really isn't doing much for you. Because like I said, you see it all over the internet. People are at jobs right now, and we're in a life right now where inflation has gone like nuts. It's crazy out there right now. Groceries, gas, everything has gone up. And these jobs that people have sold themselves to and just put everything into, it's not even doing much for them. Interesting. Very interesting, the work of the enemy, of how he gets into situations, and before you know it, it spreads. It's like a virus. That devil. It's like a virus. That's all I got for you guys on this one. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you stayed this long, I appreciate it as always. Till the next one, guys, I'm out.